What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel with me, Clem Boogie. NFL Week 6. We're a third of the way in. Yes, there's a lot of contenders, or at least a lot of hopefuls, but this NFL season seems to be that much trickier, especially from a betting standpoint. You just don't know which team is going to show up. The odds and markers are all over the place, but, after all, it is gambling. You might be gambling with your mind, but you might be gambling with your heart. Conventional wisdom will tell you just play the numbers, but on this channel, I'm not going to bore you with analytics and craziness about outside entities that have no bearing of the game. We're just going to get right straight to it. So with that being said, you know how I give it up on this channel. 4 picks, 1 upset alert. Let's get to it, shall we? First game up, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the New York Giants. The Giants seem to be one of the surprise teams this early in the season, with Saquon Barkley looking rejuvenated, Daniel Jones not necessarily turning over the ball at a high clip rate, and the defense is well stout and competent, creating turnovers and things of that nature. On the other side, you have Action Jackson, Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, the ultimate weapon in the NFL. His legs are, they're just lethal weapons. You can't catch him. You can't track him down. He's going to make you miss. There's just no answer for Lamar Jackson. But with that being said, Baltimore has been struggling the last 2 weeks. I believe they split their last 2 games that they have played. Their offense hasn't been looking very sharp. A lot of lackluster decision-making down in the red zone area, and certain things need to be changed. I don't know if it's the running game, because after all, Lamar Jackson is a big feature in that offense, but he cannot be the only member producing. And for whatever reason, the Baltimore Ravens defense is synonymous with the Baltimore Ravens, and for this year, it's just not happening. You can score on the Ravens. Who would have ever thought it? But for some reason, they're just giving up points left and right, and it's becoming a very inconvenient Achilles for that team. But like I said, the Giants are very surprising. Saquon Barkley is no slouch. He's running all over the place. I believe he's leading the league in all-purpose yards. He's getting to the end zone, and he's showing off that explosiveness that got him drafted, I believe, number 2 in the draft of his year. So you can expect a very explosive game, 2 explosive individuals, one being Jackson, the other one being Saquon. But I look for the Ravens to pull this one out, and I think they do, in fact, cover the spread, which is, I believe, at 6 points. And yeah, that's my pick, the Ravens covering the 6. Next game up, we have the Bills versus the Chiefs. One side, Josh Allen. On the other, Patrick Mahomes. Both guys, arguably the strongest arms in the league. They're going to be throwing the ball all over the place. You also have Stephon Diggs. You have Travis Kelce. You got a whole host of names, whole lot of speed, whole lot of accuracy, a lot of long ball throwing all over the yard. But with all that being said, don't expect a lot of defense to be played in this game. Yes, I know Kansas City to some degree is missing Tyreek Hill to take the top off the defense, but they look pretty good to me. Patrick Mahomes seems to be spreading the ball around. Kelce, for whatever reason, is still getting open. I believe last game he scored 4 touchdowns on very minimal touches. And Josh Allen is no slouch either. They don't really have a running game with Buffalo that comes with the Buffalo attack, but Josh Allen does make it work. He's a big guy. He's a newer version of Ben Roethlisberger, but he has a gun for an arm. But like I said, don't look for a defensive played game. Look for a lot of offense, a lot of point scoring from both teams. And with that being said, I'm going with the over, which is placed at 54 points right now. Look for that number to increase as game time shows up. Next game up, we have the Carolina Panthers going against the LA Rams. LA Rams do not look like the defending champs. I don't know what they look like. They look like hot garbage at this point. They can't even get the support in their own stadium, which should tell you what is really going on. But then again, Carolina's not that much better. They had Baker Mayfield at the quarterback position, so far, and he's been atrocious. I don't understand what it is with some of these teams and some of these schemes that they devise. Sean McVay for the LA Rams was deemed a boy genius. He's looking like a real dud right now because his offense is centered on one receiver, and we all know him, Cooper Kupp. How does Cooper Kupp maintain getting open? I have no idea, but I give him all the credit in the world. Running routes the way that he does, at the speed that he does, at the frequency that he does, you can't give nothing but give that man his respect. But also, the onus lies on Matthew Stafford. You do know you have other receivers, right? You have a tight end. You have a receiver you picked up in the offseason, Allen Robinson, who's actually pretty good. Get him the ball. You have to be able to spread the ball around. And also, for the Rams side, how about you work on that offensive line? It just looks like Matthew Stafford, after every snap, is just looking down a barrel gun. He's going to get hit. He's getting smacked in the mouth time in and time out. It's not working. Let's say it again. It's not working. When he panics, he's looking for number 10, which is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp could be quadruple team. Matthew Stafford will still have the gall to throw it in his direction, which brings turnovers and, just a recipe for disaster. But, it is what it is. Those guys get paid to do what it is they need to do. Let's go over to the Carolina Panthers. They actually have skilled players. They have Christian McCaffrey, who's, an explosive back in his own right. You have DJ Moore. You have a plethora of receivers, but they don't have a quarterback. I don't care if you put Sam Darnold there or you put Baker Mayfield there. They don't have a quarterback. They just got rid of their coach, relieved him of duties after 3 years. He still owed a real lump sum of money. So who knows what's going to go on? Total catastrophe on the Carolina side. In fact, Baker Mayfield is not playing this game. He's out with an injury. Go figure. But with that being said, I have no idea who's going to be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. I don't even think they know who their quarterback is going to be. But what I can say is that they have to travel to Cali to go play the Rams. The Rams need a win desperately. What I do know is when teams are that desperate, they seem to come out and play inspired football. The Rams, I don't know. They got to get it together. Defense looks like they're sleepwalking too. Yeah. I know they have Aaron Donald. I know they have Jalen Ramsey. But they've been real silent, mute, in fact. Get it together, fellas. But without saying all that, I say that to say this. The Rams will win and cover. I know the number is about 9.5 or 10. Yes, I'm betting that the Rams with the point. Next game up is the Sunday night game. Very marquee game in the NFC East, which pits the Philadelphia Eagles versus those Dallas Cowboys. Both teams are playing very inspired football. In fact, Philly is the only remaining undefeated team in the whole league. Let's get to it. Philly, offense, all over the place. Skilled players, all the additions that they had welcomed over in the offseason has been working. Everyone's meshing well with each other. Defense still needs a little bit of work, but it's all been working. Jalen Hurts is much improved. He's throwing the ball, not only running. His teammates believe in him, and his coach, the whole coaching staff for that matter, buy into the concept of having him designing plays, which puts him in a very successful and viable position to succeed. Now let's get to Dallas. No, they're winning not because of Dak Prescott. He hasn't been there in the last couple weeks. They're winning because they're playing together. They're winning because they're running the football. They're also winning because they have a top flight defense. And I think that is the mainstay of them winning. They're playing together. Not worried about discrepancies and, what's being said about the tabloids and things of that nature. They're not winning because Jerry Jones is one of these owners that's out there just singing, talking, making proclamations, or whatever the case may be. They're just winning. You know what I mean? In professional sports, people respect winning. I don't care what kind of numbers you throw up there or whatever the case may be. We've lived through eras of where we saw the Ravens. They couldn't score anything above 10, 15 points a game. They won. And for all the old heads that, the 85 Bears, the Giants, and things of that nature, they weren't real, proficient or prolific offensive teams. But they won, and they won big. Guess what? They also reached the pinnacle, which is the Super Bowl title. But with all that being said, this matchup is going to be a hard-hit, hard-fought game. Yes, Dallas has dominated the last few meetings, but this year, look for something different. Philly is just a different type of animal. I look for Philly to increase the heat on Cooper Rush and really force him to make some decisions. With Dallas, it's hard to understand what they're doing in terms of, their offensive scheme. Like I said, they are running the ball, but it's not very explosive with running. You got to understand, Zeke is not the same back that when he came in his first 4 or 5 years. It's not the same. Tony Pollard is clearly an explosive back, but he's way too small. He cannot be your bell cow. Yes, they're sharing the workload, but that's about it. CD still has his issues with dropping the ball in marquee moments of the game, but he's improving. Noah Brown is a good supplemental receiver that's going on. But in the tight end situation, that key benefactor, that safety blanket, I don't know. I don't know if Schultz is there. I don't know if the other tight end is there, but it doesn't seem to be there. But like I said to you before, they're not exactly asking Cooper Rush to be, this real overseer of the offense. Like, he doesn't really audible much at the line. He's not going to be pressing the issue. He's just what everyone will keep and continually say. He's a game manager. But like I said, Philly is a different animal. I'm not saying that their defense is top flight, but they do understand what they need to do to win. And they have been pulling it out. Reason being for them being undefeated. But with all that being said, I'm taking the Eagles, and they are giving 6.5 points. Look for the Eagles to cover easily as they make Cooper Rush very uncomfortable. And, it's going to be a very decisive defeat. It's going to definitely bring the Cowboys to a humbling state, if you could ever do that. And, possibly the following week, look for Dak Prescott to regain his starting job back. My upset alert comes by way of the game with the San Francisco 49ers traveling over to the ATL as they play the Falcons. Yeah, this is a very tricky game. You can tell by the point spread, 4.5, and it seems to be dipping. Because when it opened up, it was at 5.5, but right now it's screening at 4.5. So let's talk about it. Two different kinds of teams. Atlanta, very low expectations. Yes, they're young. They're young all over the place. But Mariota seems to be competent. Kyle Pitts is a monster, although he was injured, I believe, the last week. So he sat out last week. They do have Cordell Patterson, who seems to be the Swiss Army knife, where he's running the ball and also catching balls out of the backfield. Very explosive player. He is definitely the X factor for that team. When it comes to their defense, non-existent. Like, let's not sit here and kid ourselves. They don't have a stout individual on the defensive side for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go over to the 49ers. 49ers, when you think about them, they were supposed to come in with a new regime. Trey Lance was supposed to take over the reins. They were supposed to score a lot of points, a lot of, bells and whistles that come with it. But unfortunately, the young man got injured. Hopefully he bounces back, which we know he will. And they had to go back and knock on the door of one Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Garoppolo, there's nothing exciting about his style of play, but he is effective. And that's what is needed in this league, especially to win. Jimmy has been under the tutelage of the Patriot way. He's also led this same San Francisco team to the pinnacle of the Super Bowl. He was within a couple of plays of actually winning the Super Bowl. But that's yesteryear. This is now. As it pertains to the San Francisco side, you know they're going to run the ball right down your throat. They'll find a way, whether it's Deebo Samuels, who is technically a wide receiver, but he's just so big and explosive that if you give him the ball anywhere in space, you're in trouble. Ask the Rams. They do have a lot of other players that play certain roles. Obviously, they have George Kittle, who doesn't command much of the ball, but when he gets the ball in his hands, he's also effective. They have a stout offensive line where it helps to run the ball, where they're always upwards of 150, 160, 170 yards a game. They are tough. They will impose their will on different designs of how they move the pocket, how they move the line. Their linemen are very agile, which gives them gateway for big gashes during the course of the game. They wear on you, and not a lot of teams are well suited or prepared for that. But anyway, when their defense is in there, you have all the names, you have Bosa, you have this one, you have that one. They shut you down. They hit you. They smack you. They punch you. They strip you. They intercept the ball. They make you fumble. Everything, every daunting task that defense does, they will do it to you. They definitely impose their will on you. But what is the antidote for that? Injuries. Injuries is what has been hindering this 49er team. I believe Bosa is going to be out due to a growing injury. I think Warner is there. He's going to be manning the middle as a middle linebacker. And I know they have a few DBs that are going to be sitting out or have some nagging injuries. But being that the point spread is so low, something should tell you, these teams are not even in the same atmosphere when you think about it. But something has to be up. Does Vegas know something? Of course they do. Like, let's not sit here and kid ourselves. You don't need analytics and you don't need astronomical numbers to tell you what's about to happen. But what I am going to tell you from my standpoint is that I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons getting 4.5 points. And, I don't know. They might possibly win. So look into that. But don't be shocked if they win. Actually, you probably just heard it here first. But that's my pick. So now you have 4 picks and you got 1 upset alert. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Talk to me. I do know sports. Like I said, I'm not going to bombard you with analytics and who's doing what and who's not doing this. I'm just going to give you the straight facts. I'm looking at the same game that you're looking at. I have no crystal ball. I just have an inkling for these things. Anybody can do this. So why not? Let's just share the knowledge together. We can converse. We can talk. We can just bounce off ideas. You never know. You can ask me anything. But with all that being said is, teamwork makes the dream work. So until next time, it's me, Clem Boogie.